Should we even care about performance enhancing drugs anymore? It's always been the dark side of athletics. No one really likes to admit that everyone is doing it in every sport, but people also like to be entertained. It was highlighted with the John Jones situation, pulled 3 days before his main event fight against Daniel Cormier at UFC 200. But then we find out that Brock Lesnar also failed a pre-fight test and his test after his fight. However, because of the way the USDA works and when they announce the results, Brock Lesnar was able to fight, get his money. Everyone watched him on the pay-per-view, and we move on. And it's a question that Jeff Symbieta and I talked about on the opening drive is, doesn't even matter anymore if someone is doping. Do we even care? And we've become so numb to it. It just becomes a headline for a day, and then we move on. And it's kind of a sad reality in sports that it's become acceptable to be on performance-enhancing drugs. And we've seen so many stories, whether it's back to Lance Armstrong, Ryan Braun, UFC fighters now denying it, and then coming out going, oh yeah, I did it, my bad, let's move on. How do we combat this? How do we go about judging these people, and how do we view it as fans? Because especially when you look at the UFC, it's a combat sport, and it is very barbaric. It's you throw two guys into an octagon, they punch each other, they kick each other, they try to choke each other out, and you move on. And the people want to sit back and be entertained. So then are you okay with whatever they're putting in their body to put on a show? Does then that fall into football? And hey, as long as you're ready 7 days after the game, do what you got to do. It's unfortunate that we've become so numb to this, but it's also something I think we need to take a look at as sports fans. And we follow these athletes, we do support these teams, and as long as it's entertainment, hey, whatever you got to do to make those highlight reel catches, get your money. I don't care as long as you can sit back on your couch and enjoy it on TV. It's a hard conversation to wrap your head around because do you trust athletes now? And there are also some athletes that probably don't want to be doing steroids, but we've heard the stories in the past where they see everyone else doing it and they feel they need to do that to keep pace. It's something that's never going to go away because, fortunately, cheating and not just maybe taking a little bit of air out of football or throwing some stickum on your gloves, performance-enhancing drugs is part of the culture of sports around the world. So it's not something that, stricter drug laws are just going to be easy to clean up. But I think it's also a conversation that we have to have as followers of the game, supporters of the game. Do we want that in our sports? As long as we get the enjoyment out of watching it, is that all that matters? The Brock Lesnar fight happened. You can't go back and take it away. People tuned in and watched. But he failed a drug test. Who cares? Because you watched it. It's a hard conversation, but one we continue to have because the trickle-down effect, it does start with the kids. It's always about the kids, the children, the future. So at what point in time, if you're cool with performance-enhancing drugs, are you cool with athletes starting to use them? High school? College? We'll find out.